What if the most powerful secrets in human history are not hidden in deserts, oceans, or space, but inside a library guarded by silence? What if answers about religion, wars, science, and control are locked behind stone walls in the smallest country on Earth? This is not fiction. This is real, and it exists beneath the Vatican. Inside what was once called the Vatican Secret Archives, a place so restricted that for centuries even kings, scholars, and historians were denied access, a place where asking the wrong question could end careers, destroy reputations, or invite lifelong silence. The Vatican Archives sit inside Vatican City, guarded day and night, holding documents that stretch back over 1,000 years, shelves so long that if laid end to end, they would cover more than 80 kilometers. Inside are letters, treaties, trial records, confessions, reports, and correspondence between popes, emperors, kings, queens, generals, and secret councils. This is not just church history. This is the hidden operating system of the world. The archives were officially organized in 1612 by Pope Paul V, but many of the documents predate that by centuries, some dating back to the early days of Christianity, when belief was not yet fixed, when the Bible was not yet finalized, and when power was still being negotiated behind closed doors. For most of history, only the Pope and a handful of trusted officials were allowed inside. The word secret did not originally mean hidden, it meant private. But privacy on this level creates fear, curiosity, and suspicion, because privacy controls information, and information controls power. Historians, who were later allowed limited access, described a place unlike any other: dim rooms, long corridors, fragile parchments, sealed letters and documents, marked with warnings written in languages no longer spoken, files that had not been opened for hundreds of years, and documents that were never meant to be seen again. Among the confirmed items are the trial records of Galileo, where science was declared, dangerous letters from Michelangelo begging the Church to pay him, correspondence between the Vatican and Adolf Hitler, records of excommunications, royal marriages, annulments, assassinations, and secret alliances that shaped borders and bloodlines. But these are only the documents the Vatican admits exist. The real mystery lies in what is restricted, sealed, or missing. Some documents are locked until specific future dates, some are closed indefinitely, and some are rumored to have been removed or destroyed altogether. Researchers are watched, notes are limited, cameras are banned, and access can be revoked at any moment. This level of control is rare even among intelligence agencies, which raises a serious question. What is so dangerous that it must remain unseen for centuries? Many critics believe the archives contain evidence that could change how people understand Christianity itself. Documents suggesting early Christian beliefs were far more diverse than modern teachings. Texts that were removed, altered, or excluded. When the Bible was formed, councils decided which Gospels were allowed and which were declared heresy writings, like the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, the Gospel of Thomas, and the Book of Enoch, were rejected not necessarily because they were false, but because they challenged authority. Some suggested that Jesus taught knowledge, not obedience. Others elevated women or removed the need for priests. These ideas threatened hierarchy and control, and so they were erased. If the archives contained full records of these decisions, then history itself was shaped not by truth alone, but by power and fear. Controlling Scripture meant controlling morality, law, guilt, salvation, and obedience. It meant shaping how billions of people would think, live, and die for generations. The Vatican also holds records of the Inquisition, a dark period where belief was enforced through torture trials and execution. Thousands were accused of heresy, witchcraft, or forbidden thought. Many were killed in the name of faith documents. Here could reveal how much was known, how many were silenced, and how deeply politics influenced religious punishment. Some scholars suspect the archives contain advanced scientific knowledge discovered long before it was publicly accepted. Astronomical data that predates Copernicus' medical understanding ahead of its time, and maps suggesting global knowledge long before official history allows. There are whispers of ancient civilizations, lost technologies, and evidence that humanity's timeline is incomplete, dismissed as conspiracy, yet never fully disproven, because the documents remain closed. The mystery deepened during World War II, when the Vatican remained publicly neutral while millions were killed. The archives contain letters, reports, and intelligence about what the Church knew about the Holocaust and when. In 2020, the Vatican opened limited files related to Pope Pius XII. Historians expected clarity. Instead, they found complexity, awareness, silence, political caution, and moral compromise. Some defended the Pope. Others accused the Vatican of choosing preservation over intervention. And if such decisions were made once, how many times were they made before? The Vatican is not just a religious institution, it is a sovereign state with diplomatic power. Intelligence networks and global reach information is its greatest weapon, and the archives are its vault. There are also persistent theories that the archives contain bloodline secrets, documents suggesting Jesus had descendants, that certain European royal families were legitimized through church approval alone, that divine right was not divine but negotiated if proven. Such records could collapse dynasties, challenge authority, and rewrite the idea of sacred rule. Others believe the archives contain records of encounters with unexplained phenomena. Objects recovered, described as signs, wonders, or visitors interpreted through religious language because science did not yet exist to explain them. These claims sound extreme, but history shows that unexplained events were often recorded symbolically rather than scientifically, and those records still exist somewhere. The Vatican has never allowed independent verification to fully dismiss these ideas, which keep speculation alive. Defenders of the Church argue the archives are misunderstood, that preservation takes time, that context matters, and that releasing everything could lead to misinterpretation, panic, or misuse, and there is truth in that history. Without context can be dangerous, but secrecy without transparency is equally dangerous because it creates imbalance between those who know and those who are taught. The Vatican renamed the archives in 2019, removing the word secret, calling them the Vatican Apostolic Archives. But many saw this as symbolic rather than real, because access rules remained the same. The doors are still closed, the shelves still guarded, and the silence still intact. The archives represent the memory of civilization, but memory can be edited, forgotten, or locked away, and whoever controls memory controls identity belief. And power history is not just what happened, it is what survived, and survival is often decided by those in control. The Vatican archives may not hide one single shocking truth, but thousands of smaller truths that together form a different picture of humanity. A picture where religion, science, politics, and power were never separate, where faith was shaped, guided, and sometimes weaponized, and where knowledge was released slowly, carefully, and strategically to maintain order. The real mystery is not whether the Vatican is hiding aliens, lost technology, or forbidden gospels. The real mystery is why, after centuries of curiosity, progress, and calls for transparency, humanity is still told to wait. Because when information is delayed, it remains powerful, and as long as those doors remain mostly closed, questions will grow, theories will spread, and trust will weaken, because silence always invites imagination. One day, every archive will open, every seal will break, and every story will surface. But until that day, the Vatican Archives stand as one of the most powerful symbols of hidden history, reminding us that the most dangerous secrets are not guarded by weapons or walls, but by time authority, and the decision of who is allowed to know and who is not.